and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, everybody, thanks so much for joining us right here on The Right View. Tonight, we're joined by reality star and bounty hunter, which I love to say. What a cool thing. Leland Chapman. Leland, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. I think about a lot of like life trajectories and you think about when you're a kid, what you're going to do when you grow up, what that's going to look like. Do you think if it wasn't for your dad, you would have ended up a bounty hunter? That's a bit of a unique and niche type of thing to do. So would that have been on your bingo card?
I'm not too sure about a bounty hunter, but I was definitely looking for a life in law enforcement. And
Okay,
if it wasn't law enforcement, I probably would have joined the military.
nice. Well, you know what? All good ways to serve, but is it something that watching your dad, were you ever hesitant about it? Because I mean, this is a dangerous business, right?
I've met my dad when I was about 5 years old, and by the time I was around 8, 9 years old, I was already bounty hunting with my father.
Wow.
Uh, yep, my job, I would dress up like the newspaper boy, knock on the door. They would see some
You
young
were the
kid
bait.
standing out there. Yep, I was the bait. And then they would answer the door. I would hand them a piece of paper, step out of the way. My dad would grab them. The rest is history.
Wow. I mean, that's pretty cool. I don't think there are a lot of 9-year-olds you said who can say they were doing that.
Ye-
Yeah, but were you ever nervous doing this or did you like not really appreciate what you were doing at the time?
Well, at the time, I kind of, I seen my dad, grab people and wrestle them and leave their doors open. And I was just, a young and dumb kid. And I was like, how, you're kind of mean to those guys and this and that, and just not knowing anything. But as I got older and learned the business, I actually realized my dad was extremely nice to these people that he captures, especially after some of them have done what they do because it gets personal.
Yeah,
They know the bounty hunter's looking for them and the
right.
bounty hunter has his eyes set on that target. So it becomes pretty personal.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and relatively, yes, maybe he is treating them nicely compared to the things they've done. So how long were you doing this sort of thing before the cameras showed up? Because that's a bit of a different dynamic.
So I started when I met my dad. He was in prison. He got half custody of us when I was about 5 years old. By the time I was 8 or 9, I was already working with him bounty hunting. Uh, so he kind of we started off doing Kirby sales, and then he went into bounty hunting, and then
Wait,
he
how did he, sorry to interrupt you, how did he get into bounty hunting?
my dad, well, that's a funny question. He
Oh,
was actually going to court for me and my older brother for child support. My mom was getting him for child support. He claimed he had no money, so the judge looked at my father and said, "You know what, Mr. Chapman, I think you would be good at bounty hunting, and I have a couple defendants that failed to appear for the court dates today, and if you could bring them back by tomorrow before closing, I will pay this month's child support payment for you."
oh wow.
So before the day was over, my dad went and grabbed him and tied him up with his belt because he didn't even have handcuffs. Brought him back to court, and the rest is history.
Wow, so he was like, "Yeah, this is obviously for me." But so he started doing this. You got involved when you were a kid, and then when did you guys start? When was this sort of it became a show, right?
So what had happened is I moved to Hawaii. My dad moved back to Colorado. I was 18. I passed my test as a bail bondsman. I missed one question, so I aced the test pretty much. That enabled my father to move back to Hawaii because he was in Colorado, and then we just started working between Colorado and Hawaii. Then my dad was saying that he self-proclaimed best bounty hunter in the world. He was on the Rita Crosby show when the guy Andrew Luster failed to appear. He was the Max Factor uh, one that raped all them, was found guilty of raping all those women. and he ran to Mexico. My dad was doing an interview, and Rita Crosby kind of put him on the spot on TV and said, "Do you think you can catch this guy if you're the greatest bounty hunter in the world?" And he said, "Absolutely." He accepted the challenge. We looked for him for a couple months. We had a good beat on him in Mexico. We went down there, identified him, arrested him, made international news, and then that's when they said, "Hey, we they filmed an hour special with us before called Take This Job." Then after the Andrew Luster thing, they approached my father and said, "Hey, do you think you guys can make a weekly TV show out of this?" So my dad called the family to a meeting. We voted, yeah, we'll try it. And then that's how the show, be, developed and became
Wow.
#1 on A&E.
So I imagine there's a lot that goes into it anyway. But then to add to that, a camera crew. Obviously they were nimble and they're like running around. You can see all the shots where everybody's running and those sorts of things. How did that change things once you guys had this crew following you around?
They're basically there to be flies on the wall, observe, but it took our team of about 3 to 4 people to, around a dozen.
Yeah.
So we went from 1 car to 3 cars. So it definitely changed, the the atmosphere. But as we were working, the camera crew did an excellent job trying to stay out of the way. There was a couple times we would run into them. I actually ran over a $125,000 camera in the
Oh,
very beginning. They
yeah,
were
that'll do
on
it.
the side, and yeah, I smashed it. So it was, it's a lot of trial and error, but we nailed it down pretty good, and it was very successful for us.
In my mind, though, if this were something I was doing, and I'm going to ask you about this in a second, I would want to be very stealthy in it, right? Like part of it is that they don't know you're coming. But if you have a camera crew who's sort of like around, does that not tip anybody off things are about to go down?
Well, we definitely had to reapproach how we did
Yeah,
things. There was also times that it was good to have a camera crew, because then when we hit the house, safety in numbers,
that's
and
true.
all the cameras are rolling, so it's, in case somebody wanted to do something,
For your own
that
liability too, that somebody tries to accuse you of something that's
correct. Yep,
yeah,
yep, and that's happened.
absolutely.
That happened. So, uh, it worked both good and bad. But I would say, the way that we had it, we sculpted it into something great that it worked wonders for us.
For years, customers have been asking if MyPillow sells cross necklaces like the one Mike Lindell proudly wears every day. Well, guess what? You're in luck. They are excited to announce that Mike has partnered with a jeweler right here in the USA to create beautiful sterling silver My Crosses. You can save 30% today using promo code TRUMP at mypillow.com and click on the radio podcast square or call 800-624-3945 and be sure to use promo code TRUMP. You can choose from the women's or men's style and make sure you do it soon because this amazing offer won't last long. Just go to mypillow.com and click on the radio podcast square or call 800-624-3945 and use promo code TRUMP.
So
Well, I am no longer the co-chair of the Republican National Committee as of just shy of a week ago. This has been my job for the better part of a year. So now I'm figuring out my next pursuits, Leland, what I'm going to do with the future. Should I consider this? Is this a space where you feel like I may thrive in bounty hunting? What do you think?
absolutely. If you would have asked me this question a couple months ago, I would have said, this is a dying industry.
Is it?
The bail bonds industry has taken, with the last administration letting everybody out of jail for free, no bonds. Then of course, that leaves no fugitives to go and pick up. So there's been several bounty hunters that have been arrested, charged, put in federal prison, put in state prison.
Wow.
So, a lot of them are getting overturned, but you can see what it does to people's lives and livelihood, that, it just gave a black eye to the business. And, a lot of my people that I've known for my entire life that has been in this business for 30 plus years are, real estate agents today, and, have found other work. So
That's
I'm
very
praying and hoping that, the tide is going to turn, and, crime and accountability will come back into the equation, and,
yeah.
we'll start holding these people accountable.
Well, that's very interesting. I never thought of it from that perspective. Obviously, you see the failure whenever you are just allowing people to break the law, then they're released from jail with, no bond. There's nothing that would have them actually come back to the court date. There's, no accountability whatsoever for anything. I didn't even think of that does affect a whole industry of
Yep.
people. Obviously, that's true. I'm very hopeful that starting as of about 1 p.m. on January 20th, the shift and the change has happened. And we are going to
Yep.
see people actually put in jail who commit crimes. You are going to, I mean, some of this goes down to a local level. You go to California and you can steal almost $1,000 worth of goods, and,
Right.
no
Same
problem
thing.
there. Just do whatever you want.
Yep.
This is a very hopeful time, though, for a lot of people. What's your take on things as someone who has seen sort of the more law enforcement side of what our country's gone through over the past 4 years? Do people feel hopeful right now? I mean, I think I personally do, but I'm very close to it. So give me your take on what you expect to see happen.
Just from my point of view, everybody that is in my circle, we're all very hopeful. We were praying for this day to happen, and we made it happen, and it's upon us right now. So now we're just sitting back and waiting for it to happen. So, uh, but I will tell you, everybody's attitude and everything like that is no longer doom and gloom. It's, this is going to be the golden age.
The
So,
golden era of America. Yeah,
yep,
absolutely. I think so. Not golden if you're a criminal, though. Let's be very
correct,
clear
correct.
on
Those
that.
days are over. That was the
Yeah.
past 4 years.
Yeah, we're done with that. You've got to, if
Yep.
you break the law, then you should go to jail and you should be punished accordingly. We've got to start holding people accountable because look, it's so bad for our whole country. It's just wreaked havoc on some of our major American cities. I used to live in New York City. I would not live back there right now. I hope there
Nope.
comes a day where I'll say that's where I want to live. But it's not right now. It's been bad all
and
around for
and not to
everybody.
mention the victims' rights,
Right.
that have completely diminished,
Yeah.
so now hopefully, we'll get that back, and we'll start to see a change in everywhere in America. Not only in America, but I bet you we're going to see a change all over the world.
Amen. I agree with that 100%. Before I let you go, I'm just curious. A lot of people assume they know what goes into a certain job. I assume there are probably parts of being a bounty hunter that people don't really appreciate. Give me a sense of some of those things. What's the overall scope of what we're dealing with here from start to finish?
You know, many, many, many hours of living in your vehicle,
Hmm.
eating food from the convenience store, if you're even eating at all.
Yeah, because you got to
Uh,
wait for the person, right?
Correct.
Like a
Well,
stakeout.
and you got to be right. We got third party residences, and when a fugitive is on the run, he's likely not going to be at the last address he gave the court. He's going to be out and about. So, with the legality of that involved, we just have to be 100% that the house that we're knocking on or breaking down the door is the correct house with our fugitive in it. And so, I know what you said earlier about how just going like how we did with Dog the Bounty Hunter, but times have changed. Now I've totally had to redevelop uh, my game plan once again, because I went from the TV show to now. So now people are like, hey, Leland, I can't just dress up like the mailman. And they're going to be like, oh, yeah, so I had to, redevelop my whole strategy.
Is it
So it's,
more kind of like tech based that you do now?
yeah, tech based
Not
and a
that I want
lot
you to
of,
give us all the secrets,
yeah, I'm
but
I'm not gonna, but a lot of tech based and just a lot of just old school, like, man, I can't believe that worked. You know what I mean? And just
yeah.
stuff that I just was, like, man, I cannot believe that worked, and it worked like a charm, and they had no idea, and still probably to this day they have no idea.
Still
So,
trying to figure it out. Still trying to
yep.
see. All right. Well, for people who want to keep up with what you have going on, where can they go?
Leland Chapman on Instagram, TikTok, or X.
And the TikTok's back up right now. Were you upset with
Yep.
that when that happened? Like, give me your take.
I sure was. You know what, man? We all got addicted to that, and that's, it's almost like that's where you can get the most honest news from nowadays. I know a
Oh,
lot of it
interesting.
is this and that, but man, a lot of it you can see the people's point of view and the reaction without being so one-sided. It's there, it is for you to decide for yourself.
I have to be very honest. I have a TikTok account. I started it during the campaign because I felt like that was a good thing to do. I really don't know what the heck I'm doing on there. I still have to like get involved and like really dig deep, Leland. So
I'm
I
mostly just a
will.
watcher. I'm, the as far as just the videos, I don't post too many of them, but
I still got
I
to figure
sure,
that out. I'm like, what am
yeah.
I looking at? How did I get to this? I mean, this is like the most old lady thing I've ever said, but I'm just going to be honest, and so I'm kind of going to do the wait and see, which is that I think we now have maybe it's 74 days until the TikTok ban is reinstated. Per Donald Trump being president, he said, you know what, we're going to extend this whole thing out 75 days. We're going to reassess. I hope an American company maybe can come in and buy TikTok because I personally would feel a little bit better about putting anything on there
Absolutely.
than
Yep. Yep.
who knows what's going on. But that said, yes, I'm gonna wait on TikTok, and that's interesting that that's where you're getting all of your news and most of your information.
N-
How old are
not
you,
not
by the way?
I'm just turned 48 years old.
Yeah. So
So,
I feel like people under 50, that's the spot. That's where you go.
yeah.
Interesting. Well, I would say keep up with me on TikTok, but give me 74 more days. We'll see if it's still there
I will.
and what's gonna happen. All right. Well, listen, we'll keep checking out what you've got going on. Keep making sure the bad guys are in the right spot, which is not out on the streets, not in our communities, but locked up and put away. And that's
Absolutely.
that's exactly how it should be. All right, Leland, thank you for joining us here on The Right View. To everybody at home, as always, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and follow. We'll see you back here next time for more.
Appreciate it. Thank you. God bless.
And I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Nothing is worse than being on a phone call that drops. Nothing is worse than trying to text someone and you can't reach them because your phone is out of service range. And nothing is worse than supporting these major corporations and companies who don't support us. That is why I love Patriot Mobile. They are America's only Christian conservative wireless network. They use every cell tower out there available to all networks so that they have the greatest 4G and 5G coverage nationwide, and they support the causes that are important to us as conservatives. If you go today to patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump and use the promo code Trump, you will get free activation today. Again, that is patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump. The promo code is Trump for free activation so that you can get a great cell plan and feel good about doing it.